Well, what else is there to say except live in the saddle, die on the hog.
Grey Bastards by Johnathan French. Jackal is proud to be a Grey Bastard, member of a sworn brotherhood of half-orcs. Unloved and unwanted in civilised society, the bastards eke out a hard life in the desolate no-man's land called the Lots, protecting frail and noble human civilisation from invading bands of vicious, full-blooded orcs. But on the heels of the ultimate betrayal, Jackal will start to question where his true loyalties lie.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Through the Pages with Dee. So the book I read, Grey Bastards by Johnathan French, thoroughly enjoyed it. I did struggle at first with some of the language. I had to quickly pop back to Robin Hobb just to refresh my mind as to language such as this, and I also used the dictionary to help myself decipher some of the words in here. Once I'd done that, again, thoroughly enjoyed it. It's basically a tale with the main protagonist, who is Jackal, and the tale is of friendship, it's of betrayal, it's betrayal of their own kind, because they're half orcs. Some are actual full orcs, but it's a tale mostly of half orcs, and there's a three-way friendship that starts from being very young, and Jackal is one of the friends within that friendship. And there's also a couple of villains within this story. There is a plague from years and years ago that was created, and it was used as an experiment to see if it was able to counteract some of the threats for the nobles. And they had slaves who they did that on, and the slaves got free. And one of the slaves is the one that's still existing, but he has kind of changed. He's not who he used to be, and he's kind of changed now. There's epic battles. The battles are amazing. Jackal faces quite a few foes, as I've said in this story, but along the way he makes other friends. So there is a lot of characters, I was just putting the book down. Three of the main characters within this tale is Jackal, who is a half orc, raised in the kiln, which is where the Grey Bastards live, in the Lotlands, and he's the main character who we follow through this tale. But we also have two of his closest friends, one being Fetching. She is half orc, half elf. She is a strong female character. She's the only female bastard in the group because her friends Jackal and Oates voted her in. So that's the way she's got in. And Oates is the other character who's the friend. And Oates is what they call a thrice blood. He is a big burly orc. He's not actually a half orc. He's not half anything. He's full orc. But because his mum, Beryl, who's another one of the characters in the book, she gets a little bit of showing in the book. Because she has raised him in the orphanage with Jackal and Fetching and other half orcs, he's just part of their clan now. He knows he's not half orc, but he just lives alongside those quite happily. So yeah, those are the three, what I'd say, main characters within the book. They're the ones that go out and kind of have the adventures. It's mostly Jackal, but those guys have the adventures. And they get themselves into trouble. Jackal especially gets himself into trouble. But as I say, there's lots of different characters, and one of the characters called the Claymaster, he eventually isn't who you think he's going to be. You have I've wrote a little list of all the characters because I can't remember them all, but I remember the main ones who made quite an impact on myself. Hoodwink was one of my favourite characters in this book. His story changes. He is an assassin within assassins. So he is the Claymaster's right-hand man who he will go to if he needs a job done, basically. Same as Grocer. These are the Claymaster's two trusted members of the group. There's also another character called Warbler, who is no longer a member of the Grey Bastards, but was. He used to be a member. And within the book, you can actually decide, within the book, Johnathan French has created it so that the characters can decide to go against the Claymaster and challenge him for the chair. And Warbler does this, and gets excommunicated from the group because he doesn't get the votes. So basically the whole thing with the kiln and the Grey Bastards is about voting, and it's only the bastards who can vote. You also have characters that are called slopheads, and they are your up and coming half orcs who want to be part of the bastards. So they do all the skivvy work, such as, you know, emptying the slop buckets, seeing to the animals, fetching the food, so on and so forth. But the very beginning of this book, chapter 1, starts at a whorehouse. You can't say fairer than that, can you really? A whorehouse. So they're there and, you know, they're doing what they're doing. And then a little bit of a fight kicks off. So straight away, we're into trouble. Jackal straight away gets himself into trouble. So the book pretty much carries on like this. So some of the antagonists are the Sludge Man. The Sludge Man is a very, very strange character. I've tried to find some of the artist work on Google to sort of give you an image of what the Sludge Man's like. The way they're described as to what the Sludge Man lives in is like leeches. That's how I pictured it. It was like a ginormous leech, and the Sludge Man can actually put himself inside of it and come out of it if he chooses to. But he's very well protected, and this is all to do with magic. This is all the magic side of things. But we do also meet other threats towards the kiln, towards Jackal along the way. But we also meet other half orcs, full orcs as characters, such as Red Nail and Dumdor. Those are just a few off the top of my head. We've got Red Nail, Dumdor, Gripper, Cairn, Culhun. Culhun is a brilliant character. Culhun speaks the old tongue of the orcs, so when they need to speak within that way, they use Culhun. There's Duster, there's Slivers. So quite farther into the book, when the Betrayer Moon comes about, and there's a whole story to do with the Betrayer Moon. These orcs are there in the town of Strava to fight against centaurs, because when the Betrayer Moon comes around, centaurs go a little bit batshit and feel like they have to go to different towns within the Lochlands and just wreak havoc and have carnage. So some of the half orcs or the full orcs who are in their different sections of, should we say, groups, because there's quite a few different groups, and they were first established by 9 half orcs or orcs that were at one time slaves. So they are established in that way. They are given a section of land. That's where they then make their hold, and they bring in other orcs or half orcs with them who don't want to be within the actual orc group, and that's basically how they are given that land, get to keep it. And it's basically a deal that's been made with the nobles, that they have that land and they will protect the frail, which are humans like us. So they'll protect the frail, basically meaning the blue bloods, the nobles, they'll protect them. So we start off, like I said, with Jackal and Oates fetching at a whorehouse, and the story progresses from there, and we bring in Ignacio, who is a little bit dodgy, a little bit of a dodgy character. You don't know whose side is on. We have Sancho, who is the pimp, basically, of the whorehouse, and he's heavily involved in the storyline. And then further along as we go, and we start delving deeper into the story, we come across the sorcerer. Now, I have to get my paper for this because he's got one hell of a name. So the sorcerer's name is Uhad Ulbade Tanik Ultane. And because Jackal thinks, fuck no, I don't know how to say that, and I'm not going to keep saying that all the time, he calls him Crafter, because he is basically a crafty piece of shit. That's what he is as a character. But I really enjoyed him as a character. And you never quite really work, I mean, it airs more on the side of that he is, but you never really quite work out, is he a bad guy, or is he a good guy, or is he just basically in everything for himself? You do find some things out, which I presume would point to the fact that he's a bad guy, but I really liked him as a character. You'll have to read it to find out. I really don't want to give anything away, because even though this is a trilogy, a book part of a trilogy, this could have quite easily have been a standalone for me. It could have, the way it ended, it could have quite easily just been a standalone book. I was happy with the ending, and there is a very good twist at the end of the book. You think it's going one way because will this be a spoiler? Maybe it will. If it's a spoiler, I'm sorry. But Jackal wants, basically the majority of the story with Jackal is that he wants to claim the chair of the kiln, which is where he's from the Claymaster. He wants to basically vote the Claymaster out, and he wants to take over the Grey Bastards. And that's predominantly the story throughout the book. But there's other stuff going on behind that. But eventually it does lead up to that becoming the essence of the story. Is that going to be what happens? So what I will say to that is there is a really nice little twist, which does involve some of my favourite characters. There's also a nice relationship between Warbler and Hoodwink. I really enjoyed that relationship. It's not that much in the book, it's not told that much, but yeah, I enjoyed that relationship. I also enjoy the kind of very quick loyalty that the other orcs and half orcs that Jackal meets fighting under the Betrayer Moon, how they come with him and they decide, no, we're going to support you in what you're trying to do. Because there's been an incursion, I think it was called, of orcs where they go and sort of attack the other towns like Strava, and basically where the half orcs are, they're going to go and attack those. But they are very, very strong, and there's a lot of orcs. There's like, I don't know, 1,000 orcs on the way to one particular town, and you have a kiln of maybe 10 half-bloods, and some of them full-breed orcs. So obviously, how is 10 going to fight 1,000? You also find that there's little terminologies for what the orcs are called. So you have, bear with me, you have a Tahura. Hope I'm saying that all right. A Tahura, which means the arm. That's the leader of an orc group. Then the actual small band of orcs is called an Ulyud. And this is all set in Ulwunderless, which is part of the Lotlands, Ulwunderless. We have elves in this story. The one elf majoritively that is spoken about is the Tyne elves. You also have centaurs, like I've said. Centaurs are the ones that go batshit under the Betrayer Moon. It's just, there's a hell of a lot of characters, but it's great. It's a really, really good book. There's lots of magic. One of my favourite lines is from Crafty, the sorcerer. He's being asked how he performs his magic, and he actually turns around, or how he managed to do what he's just done, and he basically turns around and just says, it's fucking magic. And I loved that. I thought that was brilliant. There's a lot of things to laugh at. I almost cried. Almost, not quite, almost, because we have animal companions. Jackal rides, as all the orcs and half orcs do, they ride on hogs, but they name them. So Oates's hog, it's a mouthful, is called Ugfuck. And it's pretty much looks like him, this big beast of a thing, like he's a big beast of a thing. But you can tell that he has such admiration for his hog. Then Jackal has a hog as well. Jackal's hog is half. And there is a particular part in the book where, as there is in most fantasy books, you get the animal coming to the rescue. And that's the part that almost made me cry. The ending of the book, it didn't make me want to cry. It gave me a feeling of elation. I was elated with the end of the book. So like I say, it could have been a standalone, but I know it's not. I know it's part of a trilogy. And I think it was just good. I just really, really enjoyed it. I'm just trying to think, is there anything else that I've kind of not spoke about, missed out? I don't really think so. I think without spoiling, I don't really think there's much more I can say. I can just give you a rundown of the characters. I can tell you some of the places. We've got places such as, I think the majority of is Sparta, but Hispartha is where the nobles live, the blue bloods. Then there's Wonderless, like I've said. There's Dargest, which I think is where, if memory serves me right, some of the orcs are from. I could be wrong on that, but I think then there's Strava, where there is actually one character I haven't mentioned, called Zerko, who is a priest. And within the story, he actually does some description of a favour for Jackal. So then Jackal owes him. And what he owes him is basically to come back every Betrayer Moon and fight for Strava, to protect Strava. So there's a storyline, a very nice storyline there as well. That too includes magic. There's a lot of magic in this book, which I thoroughly enjoyed. The main elf character is called Starling, and she is also tied to Jackal in the respect that Jackal is just trying to protect her and save her. So there's a storyline there as well in relation to that relationship. So yeah, it's just really, really fun. It's actually fun. When people have said it is Sons of Anarchy, but in fantasy on hogs, yeah, it absolutely is. It's definitely a version of Sons of Anarchy, but they're all on hogs. And I loved it. I really, really loved it. And there isn't really much more for me to say than that. I just suggest you pick it up and you give it a read. The swearing, if you've got somewhat of a distaste for maybe things like sex scenes or swearing or violence, maybe pass, maybe give it a pass. But for me, I enjoy very much those kind of books. That's why I can't wait to read Joe Abercrombie, because I do enjoy quite a dark book. I wouldn't say this is necessarily that dark, but it does have elements that may not be for everyone. So in that situation, I would say maybe pass it by. But if you do like something with a bit of guts about it, some violence, some sex scenes, swearing, where you're able to laugh, then yeah, absolutely give Grey Batsards a go. So that's Grey Batsards. Moving on from that, I decided to start reading, where are you? Malazan. Yeah, I'm actually enjoying it. I was quite scared of it, but I'm actually enjoying it. So that will be a video for another day. Once I've actually got through that, then yeah, I will do my first video of what I think of Gardens of the Moon, if I can make sense of it. I'm not doing too bad at the moment, I think. I think I'm doing okay. But yeah, I will do a video on that if I can make sense of it. Other than that, do I have anything else to report back? I have more books because, like I've said, I am addicted. I'm looking at getting a shelf for behind myself here because we're starting to get a little bit overwhelmed. I do have another shelf in the hall, but I want to try and keep my books in separate sections, because that outside is mostly crime, thriller, people like Peter May, people like that. So I want to kind of keep that separate and have my fantasy, because mostly my channel will be about fantasy, horror, thriller. That's mostly what I'm looking at doing these videos on. I may switch back to the crime, may switch back to those, but I don't know. We'll just see how we go. At the moment, I'm really, really enjoying my little fantasy rampage that I'm on. But slowly coming up towards Halloween, I may dive into horror. I may start going back into horror again. I've picked up a couple of horror books, so you never know. I may throw one in on you. But yeah, Grey Batsards, really enjoyed it. Definitely would say give it a go. So on the back of that, that's me. Hope you're all well. Please like and subscribe. Oh, and by the way, I have a couple of other channels that I'd like to just give a quick mention to. If you want to go and give them a quick look, we've got at Rekindled Reader, which is a guy called Jordan. Can I just say, lighting envy. His videos are beautiful. The aesthetic is just beautiful. So Jordan, if you want to give me any tips, I'd really appreciate that. I'm brand new and I'm open to any suggestions that any booktuber has to offer me. His videos are just beautiful to look at, and he's very informative. So definitely go over to Rekindled Reader, give Jordan a look. And there's also Tori at Tori Talks Too. She was a young mum, and she decided to jump on BookTube because she loves reading. And I've watched a couple of her videos, and I think she's lovely. I really think she's lovely. And that's what I think we need to do in the book community, is just support each other. Oh, and before I forget, I just wanted to have a quick word about this. In my Robin Hobb, the Farseer Trilogy video, I was checking the comments, and Dr. Philip Chase commented, I could not have been more happy. He commented and said that he liked my video. I was over the moon. I have literally done what now, 5 videos? See, wonder. Yeah, there's 5 videos, and one of my favourite booktubers, who I've been watching since last year, commented. I could not tell you how happy that physically made me. I was so happy. So, Dr. Philip Chase, thank you so much. That meant the world to me. Now I'm just waiting for Mike from Mike's Book Reviews just to say hello. Just a hello. But my videos might be shit, and he might not like them. I'm trying. But yeah, I'm only joking. I'm just joking. But yeah, that warmed my heart. Seriously, it warmed my heart. I didn't expect anything like that so soon. So yeah, give those guys a look. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Press that bell, then you'll know every time I upload a new video. And until next time, I will see you in the pages.